Welcome back to the Byron podcast. I got to sit down with one of my mentors, Al Filippone. He's the team lead and founder of Team AFA, formerly Al Filippone Associates in Connecticut. For years, they've had the highest volume team in Connecticut, over 350 million alone just last year. The last few years, they've done over $1 billion in sales. He's got billions of sales on his record. Al's also Senior Vice President and Coaching Czar at William Ravis, a brokerage that we share together. I love spending time with Al. He gives me so much insight, and I know for sure, no matter what level of the business you are in, you're going to enjoy this pod. So leave a comment. Tell me what your biggest takeaway was. I'll see you in the pod. Yeah, so Al, appreciate you doing this. Pretty cool.
My pleasure. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. Sit down with you, and anytime I get to sit down with you and chat real estate, because you've been such an icon, especially Fairfield County, right? So Fairfield County, for maybe anyone who's unfamiliar, it's where a lot of New Yorkers choose to live and then travel into the city. I know you just moved into the city for the first time.
Reverse commute.
Yeah, which is interesting. But it's a great place for many people who work in the city or just here in, lower Fairfield County to choose a place to live.
Fabulous place to raise a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
School system, everything for the kids and services.
What's impressive to me as, an entrepreneur and team leader and a business guy is just how dominant you've been in the state of Connecticut. Being one of the first people really in the entire industry to start and grow a team. You and Bill Ravis talk about that quite a bit. And not only just starting and growing one, but year after year, raising the bar. And just the last couple of years alone, you've done over $300 million in volume, over 350 million last year. And it's such a huge number that so many people are like, holy, look at what Al and his team are doing. So why don't you just give us the background story of like being in real estate 35 years, starting the team, and kind of how it's transitioned to this point of success.
So I built my business as a single agent through direct mail.
Yeah.
There was an area of town, the town of Fairfield, that I carved out kind of in the hills. Greenfield Hill actually is the name of it. And there were 2,500 residences in that area. So it was a nice size. And I just started, I felt like, one of the agents came into the office. I was brand new, and he was complaining that his dog was sick, and he was trying to make an appointment at the veterinarian. And the vet said, "Oh no, we don't take anyone new. We're too busy or whatever." And he was complaining that, and I kind of a thinking guy, and I was somewhere, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if somewhere down the road, there's a husband and wife say, honey, I think it's time to sell our house. I hope Al Filippone is available. That was a mindset I had and was trying to create. So
to be that ultra professional, like the veterinarian, like the doctor, like that true advisor.
Right. Yeah. And to be, to have such a great reputation that you,
of course,
so I decided to do it through marketing, through direct mail. And every month I was mailing to...
What year was this when you started the campaign?
1990, 91.
Okay.
Right in there.
Yeah.
And
so this is like 3-4 years after you started in the business as a single agent.
Yeah, it was probably right in around that time. Of course, in 91, the market was going down, was really starting to go down. Not many people wanted to invest in the real estate business, but I wasn't a big yay rah salesperson. I knew that wasn't going to be my calling card, that I had to do it another way. So I was mailing to, I was getting ready to do actually my first mailing, and I was reading an article. Probably a lot of the people listening to this are too young to remember Reader's Digest.
We've got our email list average age is over 60.
Oh,
so,
okay. So they know Reader's Digest.
Okay.
And I was reading an article about the founder of Reader's Digest, and it was talking about, how he was going door to door to delivering, that's how he got started. I thought, well, in today's money, this guy would be a billionaire. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. I could do it too. Yeah. So I was mailing out 2,400 pieces and delivering the other 100 door to door every month. So I felt it was going to take me basically 25 months to hit all, in theory.
If you wanted to go and say hello to everybody.
Yes, say hello. And a couple offshoots of it that I really wasn't expecting. I got to know the area. It's a fairly large geographical area. It's 2-acre zoning.
Wow.
So the houses are far apart. So,
Yeah.
in some streets you're not actually walking, you're driving from house to house.
Yeah.
Got to know the area really well. I just kind of created a name for myself by doing that. And it wasn't long before, by the time I was 6 months in, now the homeowners had received 6 newsletters already. They started recognizing me as I was at the door.
Yes.
So they were putting name to face. Oh, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity. It was just great conversations.
Yeah. And obviously this is before, something like Instagram or TikTok, right?
Way before.
Yeah, way before that. Yeah, this is the 90s. So,
yeah.
So that's a great way to get your face in front of people for sure.
Yeah, and I try to be, I like doing the opposite of what other people are doing.
Yeah.
So,
what were they doing? What was the majority of the marketing spend at this time, early 90s? I would imagine newspaper, right?
Yeah, and print magazine.
And print
Some
magazine.
magazine,
Yeah.
like the local, we have a Westport magazine started out.
Yeah.
And just so yeah, and those, but not many people.
And you were like, I'm going to go direct to the door with me hand delivering or to the mailbox.
Direct to the consumer.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't before long where people were recognizing my face with the newsletter. And so it was much more. And as I said, and so I tried to coordinate it so I was going out on the hottest day of the week in the summertime and the coldest day in the wintertime, kind of for the sympathy vote.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it worked.
That was part of the strategy.
I was being invited in for hot chocolate and lemonade and all of this. And it really, and then I found that Saturday was a great day to do it.
Okay.
Because people are home, especially,
of course,
as opposed to being at work, and their defenses are down, and it's like, holy,
they're happier on a Saturday.
Yeah.
The beginning of the weekend.
And here it is Saturday, and this guy's out pounding the pavement. So it really had a stickiness to it, so to speak. And I would get the question, and it was taking a while. I was about to give up after the first year because not much was happening. And Bill said,
direct mail is a long-term investment.
Yes, yes. I was looking at it, so I was still doing my open houses and calling expireds and all of that. But I was looking, at that part of the business is putting the bread on the table.
And more bottom of the funnel, something you can hit now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was looking at direct mail more as my annuity.
Yes.
We're down the road. Bill kept encouraging me to keep it up, and eventually it kicked in, and homeowners would because we live in an area where there's very successful business people, and it's like you're starting to kill it with this direct mail piece. Why aren't other agents doing this? And I don't know if I said it aloud, but what I was thinking to myself is they are doing it, but they're doing it once or twice. It's not generating business, and then they're giving up.
Yeah.
So the key was, and to this day, whether it's you're talking about Instagram or direct, whatever it is, the key to the success in this business, I don't have to tell you, is consistency.
I keep doing it over and over and over.
Yes,
I just put up a video actually yesterday just about that.
Yes.
I shared one of my first videos from my 3rd year in real estate in 2014. I was awful at video. And then I kind of split screened it with today and said, the only reason I've grown on video is because I did it every day, every week for the entire time. So you built this massive, farm, right, of 2,500 homes. You were seeing 100 of them at the door. You were mailing 2,400 of this every month, and you kept rotating this. And then at what point did you decide, okay, this business has gotten so big, I need to be one of the first in the country to go build what is now considered a mega team?
Well, first, once I did, as a single agent, once I hit 10 million in volume, I felt that I needed a support staff person.
Like an exec assistant or whatever.
An administrative manager kind of. And I didn't know it at the time, but to me, that's really the first step in building a team.
I agree.
To have someone,
100%.
I wanted someone at the time, there wasn't any remote work anyway.
Somebody on the back end.
So in-house, in the office every day, on the back end. So that's how it started. As I said, that was really my first team member, although at the time I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I actually hired someone at halftime, every day, but halftime. And I remember I was ready to go. I thought, I wonder if I can it'd be cool to have someone here all day, because, you know, invariably you have someone in the morning, you need them in the afternoon. You have them in the afternoon, you need them in the morning.
Yes.
And I said to Bill, I think I'm making her full time, but I'm wondering if I'm going to have enough to do. He said, just hire her, you'll have enough to do. And he was right. Within a month, I could see that. And she, to this day, that was however many years ago, she's my webmaster now. So she takes care of our website. So
still here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, she freelances.
Yeah, she's a vendor for you. Yeah.
She's.
Isn't that something that's great about Bill? He's just go for it, right? I love that attitude.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned Bill actually a couple times already, just kicking off this pod. So if you're listening, like, who's this Bill Ravis guy they're talking about? I actually got to sit down with Alan Dalton. He lives. Do you know Alan Dalton?
I do. He's funny.
He's funny. So he's a former CEO of Realtor.com, right? I think now he's at BHHS, somewhere in Gino's exec team, I believe, or he was as recently as last year. And anyways, I'm sitting at a conference in Miami, and we're at the Fontainebleau in the lobby. And I'm chatting with Alan. Oh man, you're a Connecticut guy. Connecticut, the whole thing.
Yeah, he's from originally Massachusetts, I think.
Originally, but he lives close to you now, right?
Is he? Yeah.
He lives somewhere in Fairfield County.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure which town, but he said, "Wow, you work for Bill Ravis?" I said, "Yeah, my team's part of William Ravis Real Estate." And he says, I used to run Realtor.com. I met brokers across the entire country. He said, Bill is the smartest broker I've ever met in my life. Yeah. And so if you're familiar with Northeast real estate, Bill's the most iconic broker in the Northeast. Obviously now with what the company's doing in South Florida, it's just unbelievable. They're a family-owned company in the top 10 in the entire country for volume. It's just them and Howard Hanna that are privately owned at that level. It's such a a great story, Bill. Really, so we'll probably mention Bill a few more times. Just as a little context, so if you're listening, you're like, who is this? But you were one of Bill's, first real big success stories as he started building this brokerage, right? I mean, he's been doing it 46, 47 years. You're 35 years.
Yeah, there were some that came and gone, but really the first to really scale it.
To scale to the size, and Bill always says, we invented teams here, and you were at the forefront with him on that.
Yeah, and it's it's been a fun journey. I mean, the funny thing about Dalton, whenever I think of him, this sticks in my mind. I played a short video of him once being interviewed by, I'm not sure who it was, but at a team meeting.
Yeah.
And he said, well, this is how I handled, because I came from a poor neighborhood, this is how I handled high-end opportunities. So, of course, the agents on the team are all heirs because we live in a high-end neighborhood. He said, I'd go into a house, it'd be, a 10,000 square foot house. And you just have to be honest with people. No heirs or anything. I walked in, I looked around and said, I grew up in a house like this. There were 5 other families living in it too. But
we have 5. He's a charismatic guy, huh?
Yeah.
And Alan. Wow. So, where did what's your experience been with him? Like,
I don't really just
different things in the industry. He's been in the industry a long time. Been around quite a bit. So.
Yeah. But Bill and I really, formulated the team concept 22 years ago or whatever, and it's just evolved from there.
I mean, the last 10 years, it's been obvious that teams in any market across the country are a dominant force, right? There's just no question about it. 20 plus years ago, did you and Bill have that discussion where it's like teams are going to just take over this industry?
I can't say we knew that, but we did get a lot of resistance. I mean, other agents
within the company and outside, or
more outside.
Okay.
They just hated the idea of a team. They didn't want to give it any recognition, and I guess that should have been a harbinger of things to come, because usually it's an indication of people are threatened by what you're doing.
And that's a
good sign.
There's still a real threat against teams. We saw that in January of this year, where the state made a lot of changes in our state of Connecticut.
Craziness.
Yeah, I have a team in Connecticut that we finally we finally got a little piece off of the Al team. We got the most transactions, but you're so far ahead in the volume. We're gonna have to do 3 times the amount of transactions to catch you in the volume. For context, what's the average price point you're dealing with in this luxury market?
Our average sale price is $1.5 million something, $1.5 million and change.
Yeah.
That's the average.
So you can do the math. Over 350 million last year. They're still doing. That's what I love about your team and the way you've set it up. You're not just high volume. You're high volume and high units.
It's a nice balance, I think.
Yeah.
And part of that is just the fortune of living here. I mean,
Yeah.
something I did great, but we're in a nice marketplace for that.
But you're not doing, a lot of luxury teams they'll just do a low number of units because the price point's so great.
Right.
You decided to do both. So it's amazing. So right now with your agents, we're shifting a little bit into this market. And you've seen shifts, you've seen recessions, you've seen quite a bit in 35 years of being in the business. What are you telling your agents right now as we go through this real estate and economic shift? If you want to actually improve your business and take it to the next level, and you've got a little issue managing your transactions, you've got to try Sisu. There's a link below. My team uses Sisu for everything. We have our leaderboards and we're tracking every single thing that we're doing. But most importantly, it's that transaction management portion of the business. So manage your transactions online. Use Sisu. Try the link below. Sisu will transform your business. It's done it for many teams, many single agents across the country. Try Sisu. Links below.
To get back to the blocking and tackling.
Yeah.
Get back to the basics, going back to what we were talking about with consistency. People just want to know that you're interested in them and that you take pride in what you do. That they can tell your experience and how your confidence and how well trained you are just by conversations. But it's just reaching out. You
mentioned going out when you started your career on Saturday. Mm-hmm. How important, if you're maybe 5 years in the business and you haven't built it up to that level, that annuity that you talk about where the business is coming in, how important is it to be committed on Saturdays and Sundays?
Well, the old saying, entrepreneurs work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40. That's really what it's all about.
That is true. You think about it.
As a realtor, you own your own business, whether you're with another brokerage or not. You own your own business. You're going to live and die with your own sword. And so you're going to get out of it what you put into it. I can remember, and it's great to have a passion for it. I remember I was 3-4 years in, and it was Easter Sunday, and we were having, in mid-April or whatever, having Easter dinner at my grandmother's, which nobody could cook like she did, Filippone.
Yeah.
Sicily,
oh, geez. Probably a big spread. Fill up the whole table here.
But I remember sitting waiting for dinner, and I was thinking, this is the first day I've had off this year.
Yeah.
And so that was telling in 2 ways to me. Number one, that you got to work hard if you want to make it in anything. And number two, I must be really enjoying this if I didn't realize that I haven't had a day off yet, or I didn't have a life. One of those three. But,
not too many friends. Yeah. We got a lot in common now. So I like to work a lot too. But looking forward though here, I agree with you. Basics. You're an agent, forget about the noise. I started in 2012, which was the bottom of the Connecticut real estate market. You can make it in any single market. But if you're, looking at the next couple of years, you've been through the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis. You've been through recessions. What are you just speculating? Is this going to be, good for real estate, bad for real estate? Is this going to get really bad in the next couple of years? What's your gut feel on the economy going forward?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, no pun intended. You know, right now what we're seeing down here is a little bit of a shift in, we were talking about this before, in that mid-price range. Where the first time...
Which for you guys, tell everyone what the mid-price range would be.
For us, it would be that $2 to $3 million.
Yeah.
$1.5 to $3 million price point, $3.5 million. The first-time home buyers here, under a million, 1,250,000, whatever. Those houses are still moving, still seeing multiple offers. Above 4 million, still moving. It's that mid-price range where maybe the interest rates are affecting it a little bit more. It's not a, it's not a have to move. It'd be nice to move up, but last couple of years, one of the inspirations was let's take advantage of all the equity we built.
Yeah.
How long is that going to last? So I'm hoping that it's not, a big downturn or maybe more of a leveling off. When it comes to predicting the economy, predicting anything, I mean, did you ever the week of the Super Bowl listen to what the analysts say about what's going to happen, what needs to happen?
And then the night before somebody gets arrested.
Yeah. And the first play of the game, the center hikes it 40 yards over the quarterback's head. And,
everything goes out the window.
Everything is out the window. And the same thing with, it's just so difficult to predict what's going to happen in the fall with elections.
Right.
Are they going to get a handle on the inflation that's going up, the interest? So I just think that the economic forecasts are that mid-March, mid-spring market in 2023 are going to be down about 5% across the board prices.
You're expecting prices to go down.
I'm not saying that I am. I'm getting a lot of different opinions and stuff. That I'm saying that's the economic forecast, that it's going to be a 5% decrease in prices next spring. I'm hoping more of a level off. Mm-hmm. We're still seeing multiple offers. The two things that I think are a bit different is not as three things actually. Not as many multiple offers. Yeah. Not as many offers. Not as much of a disparity over ask. And thirdly, 2 months ago, I'm sure it was in your marketplace too, you felt like you could slap any number you wanted on a house and it was going to see for more.
Correct, yeah.
That there are houses sitting there now and need price adjustments.
And it's interesting, I think, to hear that, because your lower, your average price point is $1.5 million, and then that mid, like you said, is and then you sold a $16 million house this year, your team did. So you're dealing with the ultra high end in terms of price points in this country, but the median price points are feeling exactly what you just described. Okay, there's multiple offers, but not as extreme, right? There's people going over ask, but maybe not as extreme across the board. So it's very similar, which is interesting.
Right, where that high end, they're not financing. So the interest rates don't come into play as much. Obviously, they're very astute financial people, but as we had discussed, it's just another place to put your money.
Are you cautious right now as a team leader? Are you investing into the team and into the growth of the team over the next few years like you would in any other market? Should, a team leader like myself continue to put money in over the next couple of years?
Well, another thing, as you said, we'll be alluding to Bill throughout this conversation. Yeah. One of the things I learned from him is when the market is down, that's when you have to open up the throttle and invest even more.
And he's done that throughout the years.
And that doesn't mean spending frivolously, or you have to be prudent about how you're investing. But this is when you really have to step up with the marketing.
Yeah, it becomes clear right now that things are going to go potentially on sale. Things like maybe a book of business that you want to acquire that you've been working on, and maybe the price tag 12 months ago would have been up here, and now you might get it at a more reasonable price. I mean, Bill, he may go out and acquire some more independent brokerages because, some of these, big names who have had a lot of investment in, they're taking a step back and don't have the investment. So he has less competitors to go out there and invest in businesses. And he's been smart, and now is the time the smart money comes into play.
Yeah. And even some of the larger companies, you've been reading about it, they're cutting staff. 10%, 8%.
Exactly. So you're of the mindset of, if you've got it, if you've built it up, go make those smart investments right now. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. What investments, as an agent, we talked about the basics, right? But what investments should an agent be making into either themselves to get better or their business?
I think, from my observation, I think some of the agents where they go wrong is investing in a lot of different things. And it doesn't, I'm not necessarily talking about a financial investment. That plays
time is an investment.
Time investment, yeah. I mean, like you're the guru of social media. You do such a great job with your
Thank you. I don't know about a
podcasts
guru,
and
but I
everything.
appreciate that.
But you're focusing, not that you don't do other stuff, but that's your focus. That's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's what's going to generate business for you. And then the things that maybe it's not that your team, that you don't provide everything for your team, but you know your strengths and weaknesses, and you build up a team around you so that you could, kind of rely on
They have the
strengths
support.
of other people.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I see. Is just like, this doesn't work for a week, so I go onto this. That doesn't work. I'm saying, of the 5 basic ways there are to prospect, pick the one that you enjoy most, and
Pick the one you're like you were hitting doors and doing direct mail. You felt really strong about that.
I enjoyed marketing.
Yeah, you were confident in that particular. If you're really great at the phones, hit that. If you're really great at videos, hit that. And to your point, do it every single day.
Yes.
Stay in that lane.
Exactly.
Commit to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. There's just, to your point, there's just so much to do. Mm-hmm. There's like so many different things. You get pulled in so many different directions. Mm-hmm. And then if you try something new every single day, you don't get great at one thing.
Yeah, you try to be all things to all people, and you end up being nothing to everyone.
I think the best investment you can make is in getting support, right? And so to your point, an investment could be, hey, I'm going to invest some of my split to be on the right team, to be in the right office, whatever it may be, to have that support, or going out and hiring, like you did, your first assistant or a virtual assistant, so that you can go and do like what you're talking about, the things that you should be doing every day because you're really, really good at that one thing.
Right, and it's going to generate business. It's just not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
The resolve is the key.
Yeah. The last time, so 2000, I don't know, after the GFC, you had, some years where in this country, we saw like 4 million existing home transactions, 4.5 million. Fannie Mae just projected that in 2023, we might see only 4.5 million, to be the lowest since like 2011. In those years, because you were in business and you had a team, did you see a lot of agents get out? Did you still sell a lot of properties? For those that are like, I'm committed to this business, like I don't care, I'm a professional, I've got a great business. Can you ease maybe their concerns that there's still going to be plenty of transactions for them? So
I was in actually training to become a realtor. I had my license, but I was in the Ravis training. I think it was my first or second week of training on Black Monday. It was 1987.
Yeah.
And 86 was a fabulous real estate market. I wasn't able to take advantage of that because I wasn't a realtor yet. But what I had learned, first, I actually learned 2 things. Naivety is bliss. I just didn't really know enough to be fearful of that. But as opposed to 1986, where the number of realtors in the country really started to increase.
Mm-hmm. Like you saw in 2021.
Right. In 2021, what did on the national level, would it move
went
from
over
1.2 to 1.5, over 1.5?
Yeah, almost 1.6, almost hit 1.6.
6, which I expect to.
And now we're seeing it decline.
And so what happened in 86, in 87 is a lot of agents left the business. Mm-hmm. And there was just more out there for everyone because there's less realtors. And you know what? Byron, never really changes. It's for 10 to 20% of the realtors are doing the 90% of the business. That just never seems to change. So there's always business out there, despite what I have this thing that I like to, I often say, sellers or buyers, they want to know if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. My response is it's a realtor's market, because your realtor is the most important decision. Choosing a realtor is the most important decision you can make when either buying or selling a home. Yeah, it could be the difference in, everything for you in terms of your profitability when you're making that investment or selling the property. And if you are an agent, there's going to be deals in no matter what market you're in, right? So stay professional, stay engaged, continue to learn every single day. You're an educator. That's what I love about being around you. I mean, we've had you on, call with our team. And every time there's like a group session, a mastermind, people walk away like, man, he's full of so much knowledge. I want to hear more. Is that what you really enjoy, like that side of the business, educating? I do. I enjoy building other people's businesses.
Yeah.
I get a thrill out of that. That's really one of the reasons why I went in this direction. And again, not initially because I didn't know it at the time. It was more the admin to support. Then I needed someone to help me with buyers. Then I needed someone as the business grew to help me servicing listings. And so it was growing out of need, necessity, but I didn't realize that it was also, it's always goes back to you get by giving, right? And so that's the fulfillment now. I mean, agents coming into the business who so much younger than I am, but just helping them grow their business and kind of guiding them through. I mean, there's not too much that they're going through that I haven't gone through already.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I often say in the one-on-ones that I have with the agents, I say, there's not too many advantages of getting old, but one of them is I could see things happen before they even happen. I know what's going to happen, so this is what's going to happen. And this is like,
that experience is invaluable.
I had an agent who was calling me. She was doing a lot of business, but she really respected my opinion. It was newer and stuff, and she would call or text me about it was almost a different issue every day. And then finally one day she just texted me back. She said, I feel I should just start calling you Nostradamus, and everything you say, but it's only, again, it's not so much talent as experience,
That's a smart agent. How can I tap into the experience that's around me, right?
Yes.
People, they're like, whoa, you guys are going to do, last year you did almost 500 transactions, or you did over 500 as a team. And this year you might almost do 1,000 transactions. Byron, why don't you just go out on your own and start your own brokerage? Because I don't want to do that, because I still value the 47 years, whatever it is that Bill Ravis has, all the experience that you've done. You've built a team decades before me, and I can tap into your experience. And so putting the ego to the side and saying, okay, yeah, I'm doing some deals, and we're growing and we're doing all this stuff, but there's so much value in being able to learn from other people, whether it's having a coach, having mentors like yourself, where you can tap into that knowledge. It's a competitive advantage for us.
There's no question. The team agents I hear mostly from are the top producers.
Yeah, because they're tapping into that advantage.
Yeah, they don't have a mindset that I know at all, and the new agents, I try to get them to understand you're never done learning. Rafael Nadal doesn't have practice his forehand one day and say, "Oh, got that down. I don't need to do practice 4 or 5 hours every day."
Yeah,
it's the same thing here.
How can I get it better? I mean, Tiger Woods is at the top of his golf game, and he changed his entire swing.
Yes.
It seems crazy.
I remember that. Yeah, it was after the Masters or whatever.
Yeah.
Where
he was like on a roll
by the biggest margin ever,
and he just tore it down and changed it.
And in business, you have to constantly be reinventing yourself.
Yeah, or somebody will do it for you. Yeah. What do you? Let's leave everybody with, like, I don't know, maybe a top 3 to do if you're just getting into this business. If you're getting into real estate right now, coming into this market shift, top 3 things you should be focused on.
When you're not out with clients or meeting people in public, get into the office.
Okay.
Get to the office.
So you're like Elon Musk, get in the office.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It puts you in a position where you're treating it like a business, which it is. You're not home thinking about the laundry that you forgot to do. You're learning from the experienced agents and the other agents in the office. You're cementing a relationship with them. So if they have a piece of business to pass out, they're going to pass it on to you as a newer agent because they know you, they see you're working hard, they have confidence in you, as opposed to having to track someone down on the phone who they never see.
Yeah.
And you just learn. It's a great learning experience. So each day there's something to learn, as we've said. So number 1, I would say get into the office. Number 2, it's not magic. It's a very, I heard a leader once say that it's simple, but it's not easy. And what that means is the formula is simple. The blueprint for success is simple. It's not easy to execute because of the resolve.
Work those Saturdays, do all that stuff.
Exactly. So it's get into the office. It's kind of try a handful of the different prospecting activities that we do. If you could come up with something that's creative, then that's fine too. I got a call from the Greenwich manager one year, and she said, Al, I hear that your team members are going to the train, because we have train stations basically in every town down here. I hear that your team, you had a couple of team members that are going to the train station and handing out flyers. Does that work? Because I have a couple of people in my office are thinking, agents in my office are thinking of doing that. Does that work? And I said, Becky, they could stand on Greenwich Avenue in front of Restoration Hardware all day, and do nothing but smile at people. Yeah. And if they do it every day, they'll get business.
Yes.
So it's find what you enjoy doing, and then doing it consistently. Be
consistent, like we started the pod with.
And again, one of the most difficult things to do is to not get discouraged. I'm doing everything Byron is suggesting, and I'm not getting business. I'm doing what Al tells me, and I'm not getting business. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Wow. Yeah. Let's finish off with this, because we talked about Bill a bunch. Mm-hmm. So Bill Ravis, the most iconic broker of all time in the Northeast, now he's taken over South Florida, and he just keeps going and going. What's the number one lesson you've learned over your years working side by side with Bill Ravis?
To be your own person, to not worry if the horse is blind, just load the wagon, and to do what it takes to carry out your vision.
Love it. Al, I admire all your success. I really appreciate all the time I get to spend with you, and thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Likewise. Enjoyed it.
Awesome.